When Emily returned from her so-called business trip, she carried herself with an unfamiliar glow. She hugged me briefly, smiled a little too brightly, and hurried upstairs to unpack. Something about her felt wrong. Her eyes wouldn't linger on mine. Her laughter felt forced, and her touch lacked the warmth it once held. I tried to ignore it at first, but later that night, while folding laundry, I noticed something. A faint, unfamiliar stain along the hem of her blouse. It wasn't food, it wasn't wine, it wasn't anything I could easily explain. It carried a scent that made my chest tighten, a smell I couldn't dismiss. I froze, holding it up to the light, my instincts screaming that something wasn't right. For years, Emily had been meticulous about her clothes. Even the smallest mark went straight to the dry cleaner, never left unattended. Yet, here was a blouse, lightly washed but not properly cleaned. It was so unlike her that my mind immediately began connecting the dots. Something had happened on that work trip. I set the blouse aside, my hands shaking. My heart was caught between denial and suspicion. The more I thought, the more moments from the past weeks resurfaced. Late night team meetings, calls she took outside, sudden reasons to stay late at work. My chest ached at the thought that maybe, just maybe, the woman I trusted more than anyone had betrayed me. I told myself I couldn't accuse her without proof. Love makes you cling to the best version of someone, even when your gut warns you otherwise. The next day, while she was out shopping with friends, I carefully sealed the blouse in a bag and drove to a private testing lab. I felt embarrassed even asking, but the technician nodded as if it were routine. I asked him to check for biological traces, DNA, anything. He said it would take a few days. Those words crushed me. The waiting would hurt more than the truth. The days that followed dragged on endlessly. Emily acted as if nothing had changed, smiling, kissing me goodnight, even suggesting a date night to reconnect. Every laugh sounded hollow, every touch felt unfamiliar. I barely slept. Her lies wrapped around me like chains. I replayed every detail of her trip in my mind. The late night presentations, the rushed calls whispered and ended quickly, the way she avoided specifics. Deep down, I already knew. Still, part of me clung to hope that the lab results would prove me wrong, that I was just being paranoid. When the call finally came, my heart pounded so loudly I could hardly hear the technician. His voice was calm, professional, but his words shattered me. The fabric tested positive for male DNA, sinal fluid. The room spun. I thanked him mechanically and ended the call, staring blankly at the wall. My hands trembled, not from shock. I had already known, but from the confirmation that the life I believed in was a lie. That night, I watched her from across the dinner table. She laughed about her coworkers, joked about how exhausting the trip had been, and asked me to pass the salad. She looked straight into my eyes as if nothing had happened, as if she hadn't traded our marriage for a few nights with another man. I nodded, offered a faint smile, and said nothing. But inside, my mind was already moving. If she wanted to play games, I would end them in a way she could never undo. I began collecting more evidence quietly, carefully. While she slept, I synced her phone to my laptop. Hidden in deleted folders were hotel reservations, ride receipts, and photos. Cropped, but clear enough to prove she hadn't been alone. One name appeared again and again: Mark, the colleague she once dismissed as harmless. My hands gripped the desk until my knuckles went white. This wasn't a single mistake. It was a pattern, a betrayal built deliberately over months. I met with a lawyer the very next day. I handed him everything: the test results, the screenshots, the receipts. He studied them, then looked up and said, "You have a Rockalid case. She won't get a penny more than she deserves." His words brought clarity. I wouldn't just walk away. I would make sure she felt the full weight of what she had done. She thought she was clever. She thought I was blind. She was about to learn how wrong she was. For weeks, I acted like nothing was wrong. I kissed her forehead in the mornings, brought her flowers one evening, even surprised her with dinner. She looked at me with relief, believing her secret was safe, that her deception had gone unnoticed. But behind my calm smile, I was preparing the end. Every laugh I shared was a mask. Every embrace brought us closer to the moment her world would collapse. When the time came, I invited her parents and a few close friends to dinner. Emily thought it was to celebrate her promotion. She dressed beautifully, her eyes bright with pride. As we ate and laughed, I excused myself and returned with a folder. I placed it in front of her, my face cold. Inside were the test results, hotel bookings, and messages. The color drained from her face as she flipped through them. Her mother gasped. Her father slammed his fist on the table and Emily stuttered. This doesn't mean anything. It's not what it looks like. Her excuses only thickened the silence. I ended it calmly with finality. Emily, you didn't just cheat on me. You gambled with everything we had, and now you've lost. These are divorce papers. Sign them or I'll let the court drag this out publicly. The room filled with her quiet sobs. I stood, walked away, and for the first time in months, felt free. In the weeks that followed, her life unraveled. Mark disappeared immediately, terrified of scandal. Her parents barely spoke to her, ashamed. Friends drifted away. She called me repeatedly, begging for forgiveness. But I had nothing left to give. I wasn't cruel. I was finished. And looking back, I understood something. It wasn't the affair that destroyed her life. It was her arrogance, her belief that she could hide the truth forever. In the end, one careless stain told the story she tried so hard to bury.